Guys, today's 4K review is so good, it's so strong that it's guaranteed to jack you up. Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I'm Ken. Today, guys, we are here to talk about The Faculty on 4K. What a month. What an incredible month for physical media. We talked about Demolition Man on 4K last week, Silent Night, Deadly Night on 4K. We'll be talking about No Country for Old Men, Congo here pretty soon on 4K, the Creep Blu-ray box set from Second Sight. Some of my favorite movies are getting releases this month, upgrades this month on 4K and Blu-ray, and I could not be more excited to talk about The Faculty today because this is a very important movie to me in my childhood and just like my love of movies. I feel like, and in particular, the horror genre. Like, I saw this movie, it had to have been, I was 13 when I saw this film, but I loved it from the first time that I watched it. I don't think I saw it in the theaters, though. I think this is one that I rented from the video store and then just came to love it on VHS. Just watched it over and over again. It became a staple of mine. I love Scream, guys. Look, Scream, not taking anything away from Scream 2, like, these are movies that were super important to me as well, but this is a movie that when I found this, it didn't feel like everybody was talking about this at the time, so the movie kind of felt like my own little hidden gem. Of course, everybody knows about The Faculty now, but back in the day, like being in the 6th and 7th grade or 8th grade, whenever the hell I watched this, it didn't feel like a lot of people knew about it, whereas everybody knew about Scream. So this is a movie that I feel like over time has kind of aged a little bit better than Scream. So I would say that this movie, to me, is one of the best horror movies of the 90s, but also I think it's the best horror film of that Scream era, that post-Scream era where Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson came in and just kind of changed the game. And this movie, like I said, is directed by Robert Rodriguez. It is wrote also by Kevin Williamson. Not enough people give him the credit that he deserves, I think, and just how he kind of cultivated and created like this entire like new genre of horror, just like new vibe of horror, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, we're talking about The Faculty on 4K, guys. If you haven't yet hit the subscribe button, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, comment down below your thoughts on The Faculty. Is this one of your favorite horror movies as well? Have you been waiting for this to get a 4K release? Let me know in the comment section below. Are you purchasing this 4K release? Now, what I will say, guys, is I will have all the links down below in the description, but right now, currently, the cheaper option to get The Faculty on 4K, and this is the only way you can get The Faculty, just with a slipcover, there's no alternate artwork or anything like that. The cheapest way you can get The Faculty is actually on Scream Factory's website, because on Amazon right now, The Faculty is going for $39.98, whereas on the Scream Factory website, it's $35.98. So that rarely ever happens to where it's actually cheaper on the Scream Factory website, but I would order it off the Scream Factory website versus Amazon. One of the perks from getting it off the Scream Factory website, in addition to getting it early, in the mail, because I got this I think a couple of days ago, so almost a full week early I got this, but you also get a poster as well. Now, I was disappointed I did not get Silent Night, Deadly Night poster, but apparently that wasn't supposed to come with a poster, which is like a new one for me, because Scream Factory, like, that's one of the known things, purchasing from the Scream Factory website, you get a poster with the release, so I don't know why I didn't get a poster with that. Very strange, but you get a nice little full-size poster right here. This is definitely one I would love to hang up, though, for sure. Yeah, let's talk about The Faculty briefly. I know most people definitely know this movie by now. This is not a hidden horror movie. Like, it's pretty mainstream in the horror community consciousness as of this time. But I just love this movie. It's directed by Robert Rodriguez. At this time, he had done El Mariachi, Desperado, and From Dusk Till Dawn, which From Dusk Till Dawn, also one of my all-time favorite movies, and I cannot wait until somebody gets off their freaking ass, sorry for cursing, guys, and puts that out on 4K Arrow Video. You have to do it, 4K box set. But at this time, like, he was just honing his style, his craft as a director, and The Faculty was one of those movies that came out in that time where he was just firing on all cylinders as a director. This is such a slickly edited and directed film with just like tons of style and substance to it. Now, if you haven't seen The Faculty, it's basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers set in high school. So it's basically a teen high school movie with an Invasion of the Body Snatchers premise. You know, it's taking over the teachers and they are passing it along to the students, and it's taking over the school, and these group of kids have to figure out how to stop it. So that's basically the premise of the film. But I love how this movie just presents its cast and its characters, and such a great cast in this movie. Like, you got Josh Hartnett, you got Elijah Wood, Jordana Brewster in the film. In addition to the kids, like, you've got Salma Hayek, you got Jon Stewart, who's like one of the most popular political commentators with The Daily Show right now, but he got his start as the teacher, the science teacher in The Faculty. And you also got Robert Patrick. Like, the cast, Piper Laurie is in this film, Carrie's mom. So like, the cast is incredible in this film. It really is. And I think that's definitely one of the reasons why this movie is elevated a little bit above the other, kind of slasher horror films at this time. And I would look, this is a sci-fi horror film. I would say there are moments of it where it kind of dives into being a slasher as well. There are some of those elements throughout, especially the beginning, the opening of the film. What I love about the characters of this movie, in particular the kids, is they set up all these like stereotypical like high school characters. Like, you have the jock, you got the preppy bitchy girl, you got the shy nerdy girl, you got the nerdy kid, Elijah Wood, you got the new girl, you got the jock. But the way they present these characters is they're very stereotypical, like in the first like 5 to 10 minutes, but you quickly start to realize that they are more than the stereotypes that the film presents of them. And I think that really just goes back to the just smart writing of Kevin Williamson, and just how like he could create these characters. And on the surface, like I said, they're stereotypical, but there's so much more to them than that. And I think that speaks to like real life, honestly, because I remember being in high school and like, people could be multiple things. Like, you didn't just have to be one thing. Like, you could be the jock, but also care about your grades as well. You could be the preppy, like bitchy girl, but also like be a writer on the school newspaper. Like, you could be a bunch of different things at once. And this movie really kind of speaks to that. You can be the burnout, like druggy guy played by Josh Hartnett, but you could also be like very intellectual and smart as well. You just don't apply yourself. You know, as kids and as people, like, we can be multiple things. And I think this movie perfectly presents that within this like really cool, like I said, Invasion of the Body Snatchers story and premise. So I think that The Faculty, I think it's a classic. I think it's a classic of the 90s. I think it's one of the best horror films of the 1990s, in my opinion. And if you haven't seen it, like, what are you doing? Now, getting into the 4K, this is a native 4K with Dolby Vision HDR10. Now, I do have my Blu-ray right here. I did watch this recently because when it was announced, I was so excited. I just went ahead and watched this Blu-ray. So I've seen this movie twice within the past couple of months, which I'm not complaining. I love this film. I'll watch it anytime. So we'll compare this to the Blu-ray a little bit. Now, I think the standard for like the 90s horror movies on 4K is I Know What You Did Last Summer. And also, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. That looked great on 4K as well. The Scream movies, I think they both look good on 4K. I think Paramount did a good job, but Sony really like set the bar for this era of horror on 4K. Now, did Scream Factory surpass it with The Faculty? Honestly, I think they kind of did. I think The Faculty looks astonishing on 4K, and I needed this to look good. Like, I could not handle them doing a poor job on The Faculty on 4K. This looked spectacular on 4K. To the point, like, I just watched this Blu-ray and I popped it in again just for reference so I could compare it. I don't know if I could ever watch this Blu-ray again. Like, that's how like bad this Blu-ray is compared to this 4K. Everything pops on this with the Dolby Vision, the HDR. Yes, it's in a high school setting, but there's several sequences, in the high school that just really pop and are like super vibrant with that HDR and Dolby Vision. But on the football field with all the uniforms, like, you see it right from the beginning. The green grass, the maroon uniforms with the yellow, like, all that stuff just pops in 4K. Some of the scenes in the beginning with the teacher, like Piper Laurie, like coming out of the darkness, like just how that contrasts her face. And first off, like, the detail in her face is extraordinary, but you see that detail in her face and just how that contrasts with the Dolby Vision HDR versus that black background. Like, you can just make out and see so much more with this HDR and Dolby Vision grade. So I just thought this looked fantastic on 4K. Absolutely fantastic. Now, this does include a Blu-ray with the 4K scan as well, and I can tell you that Blu-ray in this set is also going to look better than this Blu-ray right here. So you're going to get 2 upgrades in this set. You're going to get the Blu-ray with the 4K scan, which also looks good as well. I popped it in, but not as popping as the 4K of the HDR and Dolby Vision. And then you're also going to get the 4K. So look, guys, I just thought, like, presentation wise, just the way this looks, the clarity, the detail here, and just how it pops with that HDR and that Dolby Vision, I thought this looked astonishing. Like, I really did. Like, pretty much all the way through, like right from the beginning straight to the end. I didn't think this had a weak part, and I was kind of a little nervous. Like, I don't want to get into, I don't know how to talk about this because I don't want to really spoil the movie. But there's some stuff that happens at the end, near the end, that involves one of the alien creatures. And there's a couple of other moments with some CGI throughout. I was worried that stuff wasn't going to look the best. It wasn't going to age the best. But, like, they really did a good job with this movie, effects-wise, back in the late 90s. Like, there's stuff that doesn't quite hold up to today's standards, but there's also stuff that's very practical and absolutely holds up and looks great on 4K. And I thought all that stuff at the end, the ending sequence, like, really looked great in 4K. And I thought the detail was going to maybe take away from it. It did not. It still looked absolutely fantastic. So I can't say enough good things about The Faculty on 4K. Everything pops. Everything's crystal clear. It's one of the best 4Ks of the year. And I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately. But we kind of are at the point where it's like, yeah, like, these 4K should look great. Like, that's what we're paying for. So it's kind of like, okay, like, yeah, I do reviews and stuff, but I also like to talk. That's why I like to talk about other stuff, guys. And I don't just like to make it about the picture quality, because really at this point, it's like, this should look great. So if all I did was get on here and say it looked great, then what's the point of the video? That's why I like to talk about the movie. I like to talk about the features and all the other aspects of the release. Getting into the sound here, you have the 5.1. and you got the 2.0 mono, and everything sounds great. This movie has, like, one of the best soundtracks, in my opinion. I had the soundtrack when I was a kid, and I listened to it all the time. It's got Creed on it. It's got, I don't know, like, who does the remake of the Pink Floyd song, Another Brick in the Wall. I can't remember the band name, but they have a song on here. But The Offspring is very heavily featured in the soundtrack as well. And it's a great soundtrack. I love it. Very 90s soundtrack, but it's freaking awesome and spectacular. But yeah, sound-wise, no issues. I thought it sounded great. The big moments, the loud moments of the film, absolutely delivered. So getting into the packaging here, guys, we're getting ready to show you something really cool with this release. Are you ready? We got the cover right there, that theatrical poster, and then you flip it to the back. You got some information. You got the synopsis, some pictures, and all the special features, which we'll get into here in a second. You got all the specs and all that stuff at the bottom. I'll show off the spine right there. I did an unboxing short on the channel, I think a couple of days ago, depending on when I put this out. But on the inside, guys, you got reversible cover art. You got different artwork here on the inside. Screen Factory does not do this a lot, at least not for their 4K. So with The Faculty, you got reversible cover art. They went back, I don't know, like, is this the poster they did with the VHS back in the day? Is that what this was? It's on the Blu-ray. I don't know if this is like an alternate poster or what, but yeah, really awesome. You got alternate artwork right there. On the inside, you got the 4K, and you got the Blu-ray with some nice images on it. This movie's got Shooter McGavin in it, guys, as well. Like, that's how great of a cast this movie has. And then you reverse it, and we're back to the original poster that's on the slipcover for this release. So yeah, it's a Screen Factory release, guys. Would I love a box set from, like, Arrow Video? 100% I would. But with Screen Factory, we expect just a slipcover, a case, the discs. Now, getting into the features, guys, and this is where I don't want to get negative with this review. I really don't, because this is a great movie, and it's a great release, honestly, and the 4K looks great. But there's only 2 features here. Now, there is a 20-minute feature with Greg Nicotero, the special makeup effects, creature effects guy. He worked on The Walking Dead. I think he directs stuff now as well. So he's a big, like, special makeup effects guy. So it was cool to have him come in and talk about just how they made some of the monster models, creature models for the movie, how they did some of the effect shots and things like that, and just talk about working with Robert Rodriguez. It was a nice special feature, about 20 minutes long. And then you got an interview with the production designer, Carrie White, which is about 9 minutes, which is cool. He talks about the production of the film and all that stuff and designing the sets, and it's a cool feature. But I can't help but be a little disappointed that we didn't at least get Roberts to come back and talk about this movie. He just talked about all the Mexico trilogy films with Arrow Video, extensive interviews, like 15 to 20 minutes for each film. Why would he not come back to talk about The Faculty? Did he not want to, which I would think would be super like strange? Or was it the fact that Screen Factory didn't want to pay him to come back and talk about The Faculty, which I think is kind of shitty on Screen Factory's part, if that's the case? I just don't understand why. He wouldn't want to come back and do some kind of an interview or something for The Faculty. And there's no audio commentary. He never did an audio commentary of The Faculty. Like, I just think that's kind of weird. Like, this to me is like one of his best films, most important films. And you got like almost nothing with this release in terms of extras, just 2 new special features. And I'm trying to see, and I'm not seeing a lot of archival stuff. And when I look on this Blu-ray right here, there's only 1 special feature, and that's a theatrical trailer. So that just tells me that they never really did any kind of like special feature for this release back in the day with the DVD and the Blu-ray. So I think it was kind of a missed opportunity to not load this thing up with special features and really give this movie like the treatment, the addition, the respect that it deserves, because this is a film that deserved all that. In my opinion, it deserved that Robert Rodriguez interview. It deserves some of the cast and crew to come back and talk about the movie. Obviously, you're not going to get Josh Hartnett or Usher to come back. I think Elijah Wood come back. I really do. I think some of the lower tier like cast members would come back and talk about this film. So it's a great release. It's a great release, but in a lot of ways, it's a great release. But in this way, as far as the special features, guys, I expected more. I expected more from Screen Factory for The Faculty. It could have been better, and it probably should have been better. But there you have it, guys. That is my review of The Faculty. I think it's a good release. It's a solid release. I mean, picture quality-wise, guys, it's like a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, whatever scale you want to use. It looked fantastic on 4K. The special features included here, they're good, but we should have got more. Packaging is good, reversible cover art, all that stuff. Audio's good, movie's great. It's a good release. It's a solid release from Screen Factory, but it's a release that honestly could have been better. So thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos and reviews, and we'll see you next time.